Hello, welcome back to the craft room. Today we're starting a new thing. Just recently on my Facebook page, Yarn Zombie, I was actually making a bag of an idea I had, and I put a post up saying if anybody would like to do a make along as I designed it. So I'm not going to be that far ahead of you guys, but anyway, and a lot of people were interested. So this is the first part of making that bag. Now I've decided to call the bag Tala's bag, and if anyone can figure out what the reference is, there is a hint on the title card. Please write it down below and see how long it takes anyone to guess where the names come from. But anyway, for this part of the making, I'm telling you what materials I'm using, and I'm going to give you the instructions. Make sure I've got this up high enough for the base, for the cream part of the bag. Now, on my bag, this is cream, but it could be any color you like. I don't suggest black, but if you really want to do black, you go for it. And I am using a cotton from Hobby. Now, I'm going to show you these closer up on the other camera. And I'm also using, I'd say it's about 7 or 8 colors. Now, you don't have to have that many colors. It's just what I had available that was all the same thickness. And yeah, we will get on to the close-up camera so I can tell you a bit more. Right, so this is the cotton that we're going to be using. This is 8/4 cotton from Hobby. It is 100% cotton, and it is, I think the 8 means how many strands there are, and 4 is the ply. This is your details about it. There's your suggested hook sizes, and it gives you the weight and the meterage. I'm going to be using a 3.5 hook. I'll show you in a minute. But use what you're comfortable with. You want it on the tighter side rather than the looser side. This is our hook, and there comes the focus. So it is a D hook, 3.5 millimeter. This is just what I'm comfortable with. Like I said, use what's comfortable for you. This one is an ergonomic one. It's not a clover though, but hey, it still works. So this is what we're going to be making. This is the base of the bag. We're going to get it all the base done plus like a stabilizing edge. And I will measure it with my chicken measurer. So it is just over 30 centimeters, or dun, 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 dun. No, I'm not going to give you the inches, okay. Or 6 centimeters across, which is just under 2.5 inches. So put away the joke. All right, so we'll get started. This is your yarns. You will need a selection of coloured yarns for the body of the bag. Doesn't matter what type of yarn they are, as long as they're the same thickness. I would suggest cotton or a cotton blend. Just make sure that they're, like I say, all the same thickness, because then your bag will have a same consistency in the fabric. I'll talk about them again at the end. Alright, so what you need for this part of the bag, you need a full ball of your hero yarn or your main colour. Right, so I'm going to be using this cream colour, and it's a 50 gram ball with 168 meters on the ball. One ball will make this bag. As you can see, that bowl was half finished, so I'm going to have to find another one. Okay. So first thing we're going to start with is the cast on. Now I call this one a tubular cast on, and what it is, it's similar to the long tail cast on that you do in knitting, but what you need to do is you need to get yourself a fairly long tail to begin with. Now the bit I have here, we're going to be doing 50 of these stitches. So it is about 45 to 50 centimeters for the tail. And then you make a slip knot over, now get it in focus, over, twist, over. Do it again. Over, over. See how it's the top, the right hand side one is under the left hand side one, and then you just pull it over your finger. But you can do your slip knot whatever way is comfortable for you. Now you want to tighten the loop to the hook and then work out which strand is the one that's connected to the ball of yarn and which one is the loose tail. You want to wrap the one that's attached to the ball of the yarn around your hand for tension and have the tail hanging loose. So we just wipe it around and we're ready to go. You need to hold the slip knot. I put my index finger on the loop on the hook. That's our slip knot near the base of the hook. Bring it up closer so you can see. So we take the tail of the yarn and put it over the hook. Hold the slip knot. Pick up a loop from the ball yarn thread and pull it through the 2 loops. That is our first stitch. This is called tubular cast on. It may be called something else to you, but this is what I call it. So over with the tail yarn, pick up the ball yarn, get the camera back in focus. There we go. And then pull it through both loops. And that is how we do the stitches. Another one. Over with the tail yarn, pick up from the ball yarn, pull it through both. Now if you have a look, you can see the little V's making the tops of the stitches. This is what we're looking for. If I get the scissors end, you can see, close the scissors, the V's. There's one for the first stitch, there's the V for the second stitch, and there's the V for the third stitch. These are what we're looking for, but if you turn the whole thing over, there's a second set of V's. 1, 2, and 3. The third one's a little bit hard to see because I've got to keep my thumb there, but you can see it. And what this will do is it'll give us a chain to hook into that is not under tension, and that means that it will give you a more stable edge and you won't have it rippling up. So over with the tail, pick up from the ball yarn, pull it through both loops. Over with the yarn, pick up from the ball, pull it through. And once you get a bit of it done, you can use your pinky finger and your ring finger to hold the bottom down, which will make it easier for you to do. I think what happens, the camera can't keep up with my stitching, and when I go too fast it goes blurry. I do apologise. I do keep trying to stop and make it right. So just showing you again what it looks like. That's our slip knot down the bottom. We're counting them. Looks like there's about 10 or 11. So we need to have 50 of these, like I said. So I will come back when I have, oh no, I'm not coming back. I'm going to show you again, just in case. Over with the tail, pick up from the body, pull it through. Over with the tail, pick up from the body, pull it through. Tail, body, pull through. Tail, body, pull through. Tail, body, pull through. Tail, body, pull through. I'm not going to keep saying that. So you just keep going along using your pinky finger and your ring finger just to keep it down so that it keeps it open. You don't want this really tight. because you're going to have to try and get the crochet hook through it later on, and if you do it too tight, that's going to make it harder for you. So I think I'm up to about 25, 26. Looks like about that long. And if you keep your index finger on the shaft of the hook and wait for the focus to come back. Come back, focus. Where have you gone? Oh. Nope, nope. Come on, come on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. Up and down and up and down. I don't want to go too fast because you won't be able to see. Pull through. Alright, so I'm going to come back when I'm at 49 stitches. And in focus, yay! Alright, so we'll do one more. Right, waiting for it to focus again. And that's how much tail we had left. But you can't do your turning chain with the same stitch because it's too thick. So you will need to do your turning chain the normal way you'd make the chain stitch. And we need 2 of those. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to turn the whole lot around so that we can work back along to do the first row. And what we're going to do is we want to put a DC in the first V. We don't want it in the base of the chain, we want it in the first V. So it's the second hole you can see from the tail, but it's the first actual V. And you want to go under 2 strands and then pull through and pull through again. So there we have our first stitch. Now in this pattern, the turning chain counts as a stitch. I usually try and hold on to some part of the work with the pinky finger and the ring finger just to keep the tension there so the ends don't get too loose. And so we're going to work along going under 2 strands every time. Make sure you get the complete V on the top of your hook. And we're doing DCs or double crochets all the way along. If you're UK terms, this is a treble. And I just want to let you know while we do this, I am writing out the pattern, but it won't be available until we've finished because I'm writing out the pattern. It's not finished. I will put a post up when it's ready so that people can find it, and if you go better with a written pattern than a video. So we just keep going on, 1 in every stitch all the way along. As I said, we've got 50 stitches, so push it through. It gets a little bit hard to push through if you did the chain too tight. Now look there, I've done too many. We only want 2 strands, not 3. Just trying to separate them so you can see that there's only 2 there. And pull it through, 3 loops on the hook, pick up another loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2 again. Okay, focus is back again. So you want to go all the way along until we are that little bit there that I'm pinching, that is your slip knot. So we want to stop 1 before the slip knot so I can show you what to do with the increasing for the corners. I'll be back. And I'm back. Right, so we are, oh no, this is where I show you an alternate way to do the pick up if it's getting too tight for you. So you pick up your loop, turn the hook over, and then use the hook part of the crochet hook to hook the first strand. And then push it through. And then you're not trying to lift them both at once. I'll show you again. Get your loop, turn the hook, and hook it through. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put my finger on the shaft, but anyway. And then the second one. So that's an alternate way to pick it up if you're finding just pushing through too difficult. And now the camera's gone out of focus. That's good because you can't see me struggling to get it through. Alright. So pick up a loop. When the focus comes back. No, it doesn't want to come back. Come back! Focus. Hello? Focus. Where are you? Ah! Oh, oh, there. Oh, yep. Stop. Stay there. Hook it through. Pick up the second one. Pick up your loop. Not necessarily the easiest way, maybe, but an alternate way of doing it. Hook it through. And then pick up the second loop. And do your 2 pulls throughs, 1 and 2. Okay, and as you can see, we have the V's on the top. We're only going through 2 loops and we've got extra down the bottom. Right, now we're back. We've done all the rest and we are in the one before the very last chain. So we just do this DC, double crochet. Now this is the very last chain, and what we need to do is we need to pick up both of the loops of the V stitch, and we need to put 2 double crochets right in the end. I'm trying to show you that I'm picking them both up. There we go. When it goes off the screen, it means that I'm looking at it in my hands rather than in the monitor. I apologize. I'm still very new at this. It doesn't help if the camera keeps going out of focus. So that's one. It needs a second one. Just trying to stay still so the focus comes back. There it is. Every time I stay still, I'm hoping for the focus to come back. Come on, you can do it. Focus. There we go. Focus is back. So now we do the second one. I have to put my thumb on it so that it doesn't pull too far out. Now, there's the 2 on the top side of the last stitch. Now there's a little nib there that I'm trying to flick with my fingernail. That is the actual slip knot. And what we want to do is we want to turn the work slightly and we want to put another 2 stitches on the other side of the slip knot. Now if you can't get it to sit on the other side, that's fine as long as it's in the very, very last stitch. So you want 2 stitches on one side, 2 stitches on the other side. This is making our first corner. First proper corner. It's actually making 2 corners, but you know, it's turning around the chain. So that's the 4 double crochets right in the end of the very first stitch that we did. And as you see, the work has now turned over. The DCs we just did are on the bottom, and now the bottom of the chain is visible. And now what we're going to do, you can see the V's going along the top there, all the way along the top. We want to be putting double crochets into the bottom of where every double crochet we just did is. So you can just see little holes there. you want to get them under those 2 strands, but on top of the bottom of the DC. I really hope I'm being clear. So that's just a normal double crochet, and then we want to work back along the chain, putting 1 for 1. So they will line up. Once you've done a couple, they'll start lining up. The ones on the bottom will be in line with the ones on the top. You will have no free strands. Okay, you'll get the top V, you'll get the bottom V, and there'll be little bumps in between, but there won't be any loose V's. Just trying to get the focus to come back. Still waiting. Come on, you can come back. Alright. Oh, yep. Quick, do some while the focus is still there. I also think it's the light reflecting off the white yarn makes the focus not so good. Oh, we missed one. Try that again. You're going to get both strands. Pull it out. If it looks a bit wonky, make sure you pull it out, because then the stitches will align with the ones below. And so you need to do this all the way along, all the way until we are back to the one just before where the turning chain is. Okay, so we'll be back in focus with that. Alright, so we've done all that. All those stitches are in line with each other. We've got a turning at the other end. Now we need to do the last corner, and we need to join it up. Come on, focus, you can do it. Yep. Oh, there it is. Don't move. Right, so you see there, we've got 1 stitch, and then we've got the turning chain. We are counting the turning chain and the first stitch as our first corner, and we need to put 2 double crochets into the bottom of the first actual stitch, not the turning chain. So pick up our loop, go really slow so the focus stays, get the tail out the way, and do a double crochet. And now do it again. Oh, that tail. Annoying. Alright, so that's our pair of double crochets to make the corner. Now we need to join with the slip stitch, get the tail out the way, join with the slip stitch to the top of the turning chain. Now remember, our turning chain was only 2 chains, not 3. Make sure you only got 2. I had 3. 1 and 2. And just pick up a loop, pull it through those 2 and the one on the hook. And that is our first row done. Now you should have 104 double crochets on this row. This is counting your turning chain as well. So now we're going to row 2, chain 2. Now we always do a chain 2. Normally you do chain 3s for double crochets, but we are doing chain 2 because we didn't want that gap that you sometimes get. Now if you look closely, if the camera will let me show you, we have 2 holes. Pick up a loop. Now we want to go into the bottom hole because that is between the stitches. The top hole is for that stitch. We want to go between them, and we want to put a pair or 2 double crochets in the one hole. . and then pull it out, make sure it's right. So you've actually got 3 because the turning chain does count. The turning chain is the double crochet space that's before the pair. So that hole there is where our next stitch goes. You want to make sure you're going under 2 because that counts for that stitch. Get the crochet, turn the hook around so it's going the right way, and we go in the littler hole and do a double crochet. You'll know whether you're in the right place because the ones in the stitches, the bottom of it is higher, whereas the one between it is lower. You see? Okay, so the next thing is to do 1 in every stitch, 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get down to the first pair of double crochets on the next corner. We're going to stop the one before so that I can show you what to do. Right, so we've done the one before. Now we want to do the first of the previous row's pair, and we're putting that in the stitch. Then we want to go, remember the 2 holes, we want the lower hole to go between the stitches. Not the top one, the bottom one. And we want to put 2 in there. And then we want to make sure we put 1 in the actual stitch itself. Pull your previous stitches out the way a little bit so you can see. And that's the crochet for that one. And then, right, see how they're lower? And then we want to go into the lower one between the previous rows pair. So we got the pair, we've got a single, we got the pair. You see that? But we've also put 1 on in the top of each side of the previous row. So 1 in the next stitch. And then we want a pair into the lower hole, not the top hole, the lower hole, to make this corner. Make sure you don't lose the top of that stitch. And go in. And just check. Now we have added 5 stitches to this corner. A pair there, 1 in the middle, and a pair there, as well as the stitches that were already there. So we're adding 5 to each end, which will make the total for this row 114 double crochets. So once you've done that corner, you need to do 1 in every one along, and now we're back at the last corner. So we have done the first of the last row's pair of double crochets. We need to do the ones in between, so looking for the lower hole, not the top hole, the lower hole, 2 in there. And it's way out of focus. I do apologize. I'm going too fast again. There it is. Okay, so we got the first one. Now we want the second one. And then we're going to make sure we put 1 in the top of the second of the previous row's paired double crochets. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure there's one between the turning chain and the stitch we just did. So one in there. And this is a between one, so it's the lower hole. Just keeping on spreading them out to make sure you're getting in the right spot. And then we want to put under the two V's at the top. Getting a bit awkward now. Come on, you can do it. Get it through, you can do it. Pop goes the weasel. And there we go. And then make that into a slip knot. 1 and 2. Alright, so that's the second row done. 114 stitches should be on that row. And we've added 5 stitches to either end. Okay, and it's still laying nice and flat and there's no big gaps anywhere. So now we chain 2 for the next row. Now this is your last DC row for the base. So what we're doing is we're going to put one, we're going to pick up a loop. No, we've forgotten. We'll remember in a minute because it'll look weird. Hang on. Alright. Do it right this time. And then we want to put a pair in the lower gap. Then we want to put a stitch into the top of this next stitch. Yep, right there. Now this is where this row gets different, because we also want to put a DC, a single one, between the one we just did and the next one. So the lower hole right there. Not the top, the lower hole. And then do the top and all the way along. So we've added 3 stitches already. The 2 and then that one on its own. So now you want to do one in every stitch all the way along until we reach the 2. So there's our pair, and we want to reach that one there. So the one before the pair from last row. So I'll be back with that. And here we are. Get my thumb out of the way. So we've done that one. That's our pair. So we need to put one in the lower hole between the stitches. Not the top one, the lower one. Okay, now we want one in the top of the next stitch. And then we want 2 between the stitches. And now it's starting to get out of focus, but we want one in the top of the next stitch. So if you can see that, there's a pair into the pair on the previous row, and then there's one in the stitches either side. Now I'm marking where that V is, and I need to get 4 stitches before I get to the next V. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And number 4 gets us into the top of the first of the pair on the row below. Okay, so it's 4 stitches from the top of the last V. Okay, so now we have another 2 in the lower hole, which puts them between the double crochets, and 2, and then 1 to the top of this stitch here. Move it apart a bit so you can see it better. And then 1 between them. And then 1 in every stitch all the way to the other end. We have added 6 stitches to this end, and adding that to the other 6 stitches on the other end will give us 126 stitches. You need to have 126 stitches. So 1 double crochet in every stitch until the next corner, and we'll stop 1 before it. Okay, now we're back, and we have stopped 1 before the pair of stitches from the previous row. So we're putting 1 in the lower hole once again, same as we did at the other end. We're just about off the screen, I apologize. We'll try and come back on the screen again. Now we're out of focus. Wait for the focus. Oh, there it is. Let's come back. Okay, so we've got the 1 between, then the 1 on the stitch. Now we want 2 double crochets into that gap. One into the top of the stitch. And then you want, well, you want to have the 4 that we had at the other end, but we're just making sure we've got the 3 added there. Yep. Now, this is where I started getting tired. And you'll see me do a silly thing, but I do fix it. Like I said, the main important thing is for this row to have 126 in it. So if I just did what I thought to begin with, I would have been correct. But I had to play with it, and then play with it, and then play with it. You wouldn't believe how many times I recounted and recounted. See, I'm hesitating because I'm not sure I should be putting that stitch on the join from the previous row. This is me checking and checking. I'm thinking I should skip it. No, I shouldn't skip it. I'm going to put it in there. This looks wrong. That's not the right thing either. Right, so I have come back. I have counted. I think I'm 1 out. I am not 1 out, but I will pull the stitch out and add a stitch because I'm a twit. I'm going to leave this in. I'm not going to edit this out because I'm sure other people do this as well. Doubt yourself, especially when you've been videoing and fixing and videoing and fixing. You start doubting whether you know how to count. And then, anyway, whatever it is, you end up slip stitching to the top of the turning chain off camera so no one can see it. Very good. And I've added that one in there, which I didn't actually need because I recounted once I'd finished this bit, and I was wrong. But anyway, this is me counting again and counting again. So what I do is I'll show you the next row, and then I'll count again. So we chain 2, and then we want to half double crochet in every stitch around. Now we're not increasing on this row. This is your chance to make sure that you have 126 stitches, because you're not increasing. You're just doing 1 for 1. So if you're short, put 2 in 1. If you've got too many, do a decrease. This is the row you do it on, because a half double crochet is a solid stitch. It tightens it up, because sometimes the tops of a double crochet can be a bit loose. If you do a row of half double crochet, it just firms up, and because it's a bag, we do want the turning corner to be a bit firmer. And I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll come back when I'm just before the join. And if you come back, you might be quick enough to notice my stitch markers. That stitch marker is on the 120th. So I know I'm going to have the right amount. So I will do my last 6. 1, 2, 3. Come on, you can do it. 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's right. No, I only had to do 5 because it was on the wrong thing. That's right. Honestly, it's 126. Okay, make sure you have 126 half double crochets, and make sure you go into the top of the turning chain. But what we're going to do an invisible join. If I can get it back in front of the camera, yay! Get the focus in. Come on, where's the focus gone? Come on. There it is. Came back. All right, so what you want to do is you want to come in from the back under the top chain from your turning chain. It's a little bit khaki-handed, but if you do this, you'll have a nicer finish. All right, so we've come in from the back. Now you want to reach across, get your loop, put it on there, and slip it through like so. Now what this does, I'll just pull it tight so you can see what I'm doing it for, is you've got, just get the scissors again, you've got the V from the last stitch, you got the V from the first stitch, and then you've only got a little nub bit from this loop that we're pulling through. So if we do 1 and 2 chains, and then cut off enough so we can weave the tail in, pull straight up, we can nearly disguise. Stretch those out. That's the V from the previous stitch. That's the nub we're trying to hide. That's the V from the first stitch. So if you hold that and pull tight, the little nub bit disappears. Just use your fingernail and pull down, and then straighten it out, and it's nearly invisible. When you go to attach the next row, you will hardly see it, and then the knot naturally falls to the back. All right, so that is our finished base. It is the full, was it 5 rows? I think it's 5 rows. This is the one that we had as our guide, and they are exactly the same size. Yay! Now, what you can, if you can get that done, that's great before next week. Now, you can hide the first string, easy. Hide it, weave it through. Now, with this one, you want to weave it through lower down, because you need to be able to use all of those loops on the top row, and if you've woven through, sometimes that makes it difficult. So, excuse me, you can hide both of them as long as the top one's just a little bit lower. And then we'll be ready to start the colours. Yay! And here they are. So once you've picked what colours you want to use, then you've got to arrange them in a sequence. Now, see that red? I'm going to have to find another red because we need as much as we can. And I do suggest that you have an odd number of colours. Now, on here I have 8. I will have to lose one of them, or I don't have to. I mean, if you really want to use an even number, go for it. But I've found that an odd number of colours visually looks better. So you might want to pick them all from the same hue, you know, like a range of blues or a range of greens, or like I'm going to do, you could do a rainbow. As long as they are all of the same thickness and the same constituency, as in if they're all a cotton blend, that's great. If they're all a plain cotton, that's also great. I wouldn't mix what they're made of, and definitely don't mix the thickness. You want a consistent fabric from your bag. Now, the next one should be ready in the next week. Please like, and if you want to keep going on, subscribe, and I will make a playlist so they'll run together on my channel. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments or ask on the posts where I share them. And I will see you for the next part. And I hope this was helpful and you're enjoying making your bag. Bye.